This is everything I wish I knew before I started my first e-commerce brand. And I've built multiple 8-figure brands and done over $200 million in sales, but I've also made these brutal mistakes that most people just never recover from. So if I had to start from scratch again today, these are the exact principles, the mental models, the strategies that I follow in 2025. And this is 15 years of hard-earned lessons in one blueprint. That's gonna save you years of trial and error. But let's start with the foundations. Principle number 1, leverage is the only way to scale fast. Now, most brands don't fail because they're bad. They fail because they lack leverage. And when it comes to e-commerce, leverage in 2025 and beyond is going to be almost a non-negotiable. So here are the 4 types that I recommend stacking. The first one's audience leverage. You do this by partnering up with creators to cut your acquisition costs. You have an opportunity to create negative CAC scenarios by leveraging their audiences. And if you want to take this a step further, you can make your brand the influencer. By going organic first with content, I've seen brands create negative CAC scenarios where they're acquiring customers at $0 just from their social organic presence. The second one is product leverage. If you own your own formula, your mold, your IFP, then your competitors can't really touch it. You need to create a unique selling point with your product that allows you to differentiate yourself in the market. This is another form of leverage that you have today. And the third one is margin leverage. So you want to aim for at least 70% or more margins to give yourself breathing room to allow for marketing costs, your OPEX, and all these other functions of the business that are necessity. And the fourth one is OPEX leverage. This is where you can use automation and lean teams by geo-arbitraging different teams in different locations around the world to make sure your overheads are always low and allows you to have nice profit margins and scale the business further. And if you're even missing one of these, your business is pretty fragile. Stacking 2 or 3 or 4, you'll eventually build this rocket ship of a brand. So order your brand where you leveraged and where you actually exposed. Principle number 2, a good product isn't important, it's literally everything. Now, your brand doesn't need to be trendy or viral, but it must solve a real problem. It must feel different. It must create a result that people actually value. So in the past, I built a lot of 7 or 8 figure businesses, but the products were generic. And the reason why Cure Skincare worked so well is because it felt unique. It got real results. It felt like a brand is actually invested into product development. And from that creates this beautiful flywheel where when you have a unique product and a world-class product, you're going to attract world-class influencers. So you start attracting world-class retailers as well because your product is differentiated, it's unique, it stands for something. So the key here is to always focus on creating the best product you can. Reinvest all your money into product development as early as you can. This is the biggest game changer in your business. It's going to allow you to scale from 5 to 10 to $100 million. Principle number 3, what doesn't get measured doesn't get improved. Now, most people think they're killing it in their e-commerce business because they have high revenue numbers. And with all the different e-com businesses that I coach, I see this time and time again. They don't have a good pulse on their numbers. They don't have a nice financial dashboard they can look at every single day, depending on what markets they're in, to understand their contribution margin dollars, their MER, what's affecting different daily trends, monthly trends. Because without having a good pulse on your numbers, you can't make effective decisions in terms of your business. You don't know when to scale and when not to scale if you don't have a good read on where your profitability lies. And that even comes down to your cash flow cycles. And this is why I like using Iris Finance, because it can do your 13-week cash flow cycles and integrates all your different expenses in the business from your credit cards to your bank accounts. And it gives you a clear picture as to where you are in the business so you can make better decisions whether to scale or not. So build the real-time dashboards and know your numbers every single day. That's how you win in the long term. Principle number 4, your offer is the easiest growth lever that you're actually ignoring. So before you go and design your site or invent the new product or test your pricing, you need to look at your offer. Is it really an irresistible offer? You can be super creative in the way you present your offer. You can do it with bundles, you can do it with gift of purchase, you can stack multiple, month subscriptions together, whatever it might be. You need to be creative with your offer, and a different offer, a more appealing offer, can be the difference between you going from 10 to 30K in ad spend. This year with Cure, I changed one offer, slightly tweaked it, then conversion rate increased, which allowed us to spend double the amount on ads. So that's where you have to consistently test offers to see what is the most irresistible offer that you can create that's going to allow you to spend more money. And you can then test the offer against your current offer using intelligence. So remember, in 2025, the best offers are going to win, not just the best products. Principle number 5, build the team that builds a business. Now, growth stalled for me a little while ago when I didn't really document anything. I used to hire people and tell them what what to do. And then it transitioned to, no, I should hire smart people and they should tell me what to do. And now what I realize today is that it's my job to build them, to build the business. I work for them. And from when I changed that mindset, everything changed. I started creating weekly leadership meetings, trying to extract everything that I've learned to entrepreneurship the last 18 years and teach the whole team. So I wanted them to think like me. I wanted them to understand first principle thinking so they can apply it to their roles. And a lot of the times we get upset at team members not executing the level we expect because they haven't had the experience that we've had. They haven't read the books that we had. They haven't spoken to the people that we had. So the idea is to consistently train your team and invest into the people. Create like a university of different lectures and different trainings that live inside your company. When someone onboards, they can go from all and level up instantly. The rate you can level up your employees will mean that the rate that the company will also grow. And not just that, when the people start building the business, it's just a beautiful business to own because it's not reliant on you anymore. So start documenting early, and the sooner the business runs without you, the sooner it will scale beyond you. Principle number 6, go offline early and own the experience. So back in the day, I had a brand called Skywalkers, and within the first 3 to 4 months of launching it, I made $2 million. And the key to that was setting up pop-up stores around Sydney, Australia, because creating these real-life experiences creates trust and feedback and a community where ads never can. You learn more about your brand and your business and your marketing in that pop-up store than you will online for years. And a lot of brands today are just thinking that they can only sell online because that's what the stigma is. But if you're only online, you're missing out on this different dimension of connection. So run one physical event. It could change everything. And it's actually a lot cheaper than you think. You can get rental space during peak periods like Christmas time, 4 to 8 weeks, for as little as a couple $1,000s a week. Principle number 7, relationship equity is invisible, but it's priceless. So a lot of e-com brands negate this. They negate the fact that there's relationship equity to be had with their suppliers and also other stakeholders. I remember about 10 years ago when I started building out my office in China and I started developing my own team, they started managing relationships with suppliers better than I could. And we immediately off the bat saved like 10 to 20% of all costs, unlocked new payment terms, unlocked new deals, and some products that people couldn't even access. Because the best pricing, the best teams, and the best favors and terms all come down to trust. And at the end of the day, people want to work with people they like. And the more they like, know, and trust you, the better and more favorable your relationship will be, and the better your unit economics will end up and will actually seep through to your bottom line. So invest in building relationships with important stakeholders in your business. No matter where they are in the world, go fly them, go see to them, make a connection in real life. Principle number 8, cut the fat from your marketing spend. So we ran a lot of tests with House, and we discovered that we're wasting hundreds of thousands of dollars on campaigns that didn't really move the needle. And an important one would be, branded terms in Google PMax. Now, most attribution models are broken. So run clean tests, track profit, not just ROAS. Cut the waste is the fastest way to scale without spending more. And do that by just decreasing spend if you haven't got the money to people like House over a period of time and see how that affects your contribution margin. And do that per channel until you get a read on where you should spend your money. Principle number 9, direct response beats branding until $100 million. Now, branding is important, but not yet. Until you pass like $100 million, focus on launches, offers, emails, ads, and conversions. We grew Cure through performance, not from mood boards. And I think early stage branding is often founder ego. Focus on the number, not the aesthetics, because you need the profit in the business to invest back into product development and to actually build the brand to begin with. For example, look at brands like Athletic Greens. Look at their first 5 years. They were all direct response, and then when they built a profit, they started investing the profit into the more branding elements where they could have actually afforded to. But if you don't invest in direct response at the start, you'll have no money to invest into branding later. Principle number 10, fix the bottleneck before chasing the next thing. Now, I've seen brands implode chasing these new channels before they fix their funnel. More products and then more problems. Solve one bottleneck at a time, because growth is like a staircase. It's not a slot machine. And unfortunately, you have limited resources and you have unlimited options where you can work on, especially in e-commerce. So where you decide to actually deploy those resources and which bottleneck you try to actually fix is the key to actually growing your business. And that's why I recommend a lot of early founders to focus on one product, one avatar, and one channel so they get to maybe $5 million to maybe $10 million in revenue. Principle number 11, prioritization is the most valuable skill. So you need to find the one domino that makes everything a little easier and live by that. So ask yourself, what's the one thing that I can do that can make everything else easy in my business? Because scattered actions creates scattered results. Focus brings power. So ask yourself daily, what's the one move that changed the whole game for my e-commerce store? Now, for a lot of you guys, it's find that one creative that's going to unlock massive spend and massive profit. So that's where your prioritization framework should live. And I've actually developed internal SOPs SOP on how to prioritize what to do in the business. So if you want to just message me prioritization on Instagram and I'll send you a copy. Principle number 12, growing slowly is growing fast. Now, the slowest brands with the strongest systems end up winning. And quick high brands lead to burnout and chaos, but slow, consistent growth builds true wealth. Like world-class companies grow at 25-30% a year. That's it. So play the long game. It's a 5 to 10 year vision, not a 3 to 5 week tactic. And if you have this long-term vision, you'll start to build a brand that's gonna have the great foundations to be a legacy brand. And they're the ones that get acquired, not these brands that hyped up so early and then fade later on. And another important thing that I want to add on to this is that get better before you get bigger. I see so many e-commerce brands trying to get bigger before they actually get better, without the right systems, without the right product in place, without the right LTV metrics. They just focus on revenue growth for their ego so they can post on Twitter what do they want to do with it. But I would really ask you guys to focus on getting better before you get bigger, because if you do focus on getting better, you will as a byproduct get bigger anyway, but you do it with a lot less stress, a lot less chaos, and you'll enjoy the ride a lot more. Principle number 13, focus on the who and not the how. So business is a sport and you are the athlete. When I got serious about my routines, my nutrition, my mindset, and my energy, everything leveled up for me. Most people look at strategies, how to grow their business, but the real answer is your identity. It's the person you become who wins. And you need to focus on the who, not the how. Then the wins will just show up naturally. Looking at myself through this frame, I literally doubled or tripled my business in a year, because the truth is that the business will only grow to the extent that you actually grow. And your mindset has to grow with the business. Otherwise, you're going to limit the business growth. I've worked with countless founders that I coach that their mindset is stopping the business from growing, not the business itself. So make sure you work hard on yourself than you do your business. And as a byproduct, I promise you, you'll make more money. Now, if you want to learn how I brainwashed myself to make $50 million in under 3 years, then watch this video next.